evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 8 of the 2023 Motorsport Australia Formula 4 Esports Cup. Coming tonight from beautiful, flowing corners of Jerez in Spain. So, and here with me tonight, I've got Scott Rankin, and Scott's going to join us for a nice little bit of commentary, a couple of races. How are you tonight, Scott?
I'll tell you what, Dave, I actually really like this circuit. In terms of the opportunity for overtaking, particularly for Formula machines, it's actually quite good. It's really well balanced in terms of its capabilities for Formula 4, its most low-level open wheelers. It's, as you get up into the bigger stuff, sort of GT4 is right on the verge of where things are okay. Anything bigger than that is sort of too big, too much downforce, too much dirty air to really promote great racing. The V8 supercars actually have reasonable racing around here, but other than that, it's a tough and technical, tricky track. It's got lots of switchbacks. It's actually just fun to sit down and drive. There's a couple of circuits that got added recently that are just fun to hot lap around. This is one of them. Magnet Core is another one that I really love hot lapping around.
Yeah, this is a lot of the corners are quite similar, but the track's really quite wide, so for the little cars it's really good because it allows them to sort of keep that mid-corner speed up. There's not really a lot of hairpins where you've got to get the thing going again. So my favourite of new tracks would be what's the really tight, twisty one from Spain, from France? It is Lebanon. If you've driven Formula 4 around there, that is just pure fun.
Yeah, and it also comes with a whole lot of risk level, particularly the rundown of Turn 1. Everyone backed up. MotoGP here this year, we actually saw a red flag at Turn 2, and the reason for that red flag was that sort of 3 into 1 doesn't sort of go, and that was on MotoGP bikes. Effectively what happened was three riders, the guy on the inside sort of missed his marks a little bit, went for a little bit off the bottom at the tight Turn 2, and the guys on the outside basically drove as if he was there, parked in the regular spot, and somebody ended up quite heavily in the barrier. They had a long sort of wait there for a restart, but it creates just phenomenal racing in terms of MotoGP. The long folding back corners. It's going to be about bravery. It's going to be about slipstreaming. A little bit of dirty air does come into factor tonight, which is uncommon. Just a number of long corners, particularly that turn 9, the double back at the bottom left-hand corner of the track map on the far left-hand edge. The first of that corner is just prior to that sector dot, that end of sector 2. It actually doubles back on itself quite a lot. It's the apex is a lot later than you expect, and you really can't pick up the throttle unless you nail it.
Yeah, and the track limits are very generous here, let's call it. Yeah, you can get right out on the blue curves, way outside of what I consider a track limit, and you're fine. Tonight we've got a smallish field. We've got 16 cars on the grid for tonight. We've got 2 of them, Damien Cairns and Brodie Tressler, who have not set a qualifying time, going off the back of the grid. And qualifying is just finished, and we've got Callan Chin on pole for a change. That's a really nice thing. See Kayla up there. He's every time he's been out, he's been right at the front. So driving for Wave Italy, he's taken the pole tonight with a 36.86, just from Benjamin Roberts on the front row with him, 0.015 off that pole. And Damon Wood's back in 3rd. When was the last time we saw Damon on the 2nd row? That's a turn up. I'm sure he won't be there for long. And Tom Katsadonis, the 2, Damon and Tom had a great run at the BRSCC Esports Formula Ford Festival last week. Damon picking up a 2nd, Tom a 6th in the race that I saw. Was fantastic racing. So Tom again 0.196. Ewan Baker off the 3rd row. Scott KSR Speed, our resident Scottish New Zealander, they're in 5th place. Bailey Evans in 6th. This is a really tight pack at the front when you see Caleb Hyde's back in 7 and Jack Mara back in 8, and we're still only a half a second off the pole. Philip Worley in 9th. Now Phil's normally on the front couple of rows. He will be trying to charge through. Harry Lawrence P10 for Delta Sport. I might let you take it from there.
Yeah, and then for Rob Bowden and Scott Bartine just outside the top 10. We'll roll one row back to Brodie Shepherd and Caleb Dawson, the last 2 of the drivers to set a lap time before Damien Cairns and Brodie Tressler from the rear end of the field. I think we've got about 30 seconds left before we'll actually go green flag racing here at the moment. Don't forget, regular heat format, straight into that feature with just enough gap in the tank to prompt that stop. Lots of long loaded corners. We tend to not see tyres. I expect about the same here tonight. Probably not necessarily going to see a tyre change, but the battle pack should be big. The draft is strong here, Dave, and that creates great racing.
And because of the very, very low downforce, the dirty air will have less of an effect on them.
Yeah, so it will certainly be there. You'll definitely see some drivers who will struggle with the lack of air to the front wing. Revs are going to start to rise. Run down to turn one. It's just moments away. It's the Formula Fords on behalf of Motorsport Australia as we run for the F4 Esports Cup. Round number 8, the run to turn number 1. It is going to be Polster who gets a great getaway. It's Caleb Chin from Benjamin Roberts, but now they'll start to feed themselves back out as they get down to the turn number 1. Woods tries to shove the nose down the inside. If he can stay there, it'll be the inside of turn 2. Cannot do so. And that's critical for Roberts. Immediately goes defensive, Dave. And everyone got through turn 1 quite clean.
Yeah, it's about carrying that speed out of turn 1. Ben decided to stay a little bit wide and carry more mid-corner speed, which gave him a faster exit and allowed him to hold off Damon down into turn 2. So we're seeing here, Damon's really, I can see he's already a little concerned because Caleb's got that 2 or 3 car break just straight off the first couple of corners. Very, very good on cold tyres. There's the sea of red Simrigs cars that we've got out here, and makes it hard for us to pick who's who. Somebody with the big lockup, I think that may have been Damon Woods, was it?
Well, I think Benjamin Roberts actually got in very, very deep into the final corner. It was either Benjamin Roberts or Tom Katsadonis that actually went deep into turn number 6 at the back end of the straight. But they're all still relatively attached to each other at the moment. A little bit of a break coming in the middle of the field. It's going to be about working together. If you're in, say, 7th place and the guy ahead of you is 7/10, 3/4 of a second back off the car in front of him, it's actually better just to follow him for a lap. See if he can close that margin. Once the draft's broken, it's broken, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No, so we've got a solid pack of 5 there back to you and Baker, and there's a little bit of a gap there between Baker and Hides. Oh, that's right up tight on the back end. There's a little bit of a gap there, and what I'm seeing is Caleb Hides and Phil Worley battling there. Phil trying to get through to this front pack, but what they're doing is by battling, they've left that little sort of 4 or 5 car gap. Now Phil's trying up the inside, and I think he's got him into turn 1. And a car snaking a bit on the way out, and he's lost that road speed again. There we go, and regained around the outside.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, just in behind these guys as well, Harry Lawrence got through onto Jack Mara in turn 1. Mara ran wide, didn't get it quite pointed in. And for those of you who are watching along and having a look at the track limits, this is the move for Harry Lawrence, but keep the eyes on the car ahead of him. Jack Mara gets very, very wide. A little bit too much entry speed, and he ducks underneath him. Great job from both drivers to prevent an incident there. Definitely could have been carnage, and there's another 6 or so cars coming through. But track limits tonight, Dave, you mentioned it. It's the outside of the blue curbing. You've got to keep 2 tyres on that blue and white curbing at all times.
Yeah, nice little opportunistic move that was. We're seeing here, Ben Roberts is in that sandwich wherever, if he has a go at Caleb in front, he exposes himself to Damon behind, and he just is stuck there, and he can't, there's not much he can do about it. And really sit in the wheel tracks for a little bit and just sort of let the race come to you. The main thing is, they want to finish this race because this is only the heat. There's a feature race to go, and you don't want to throw the feature away in the first few laps of the heat.
Yeah, so a little bit of patience and also learning as well, because this is the first time these guys would have been going pack racing around Circuito Jerez. And the difference in lines, and that's forced Kalen Chin, has actually finally had to go defensive at the final corner. Roberts got in deep around the outside. Is this going to present an opportunity for Damon Woods? Well, now Chin's going to try and work them against each other on the run down to turn number 1. Will have to cover, because here comes Roberts to his outside, and Damon Woods breaks open the popcorn. He's got front row seats to this battle pack, albeit it's his opportunity to now throw his nose to the inside.
I'm surprised how defensive Calum is being in the lead there, considering we've got 11 minutes to go in this heat. To be that defensive early on, quite surprising, because that sort of defensive moving usually is what causes an incident in the end. So we'll get a bit of frustration behind. We've seen Ben Roberts drop it before. As fantastic a driver as he is prone to an occasional mistake.
Keep looking up and down the field, Dave. They're all still just about connected. In the meantime, Chin continues to go defensive down at turn number 1. Woods is looking aggressive at Roberts as well, but they all get out the other side for Kalen Chin. Look back, that's what he's looking at in the rear view mirror. That little bit of an angle there. There's not much of a window, and the gearbox tells more of the story. It's down through turn number 8. Roberts gets the better run, gets that wider entry line, but now David Woods is up and alongside, and now he gets to show the front axle to the inside of Chin. This will disrupt the momentum. Big win wiggle on the exit. Woods is going to have a huge run here on Benjamin Roberts. Not quite done, just about. They'll settle themselves down. The double right-hander of the MotoGP layout. Oh, yes, circuit red. It's a MotoGP circuit. Look at the long flowing corners. You can see why. It's just a phenomenal place to go racing.
And the battle's not there. It's just stopping there. Look at Ewan Baker and Bailey Evans side by side. There is a Caleb Hydes in the toe. It's just, it is craziness.
Hydes is going to show the nose to the inside. They're nearly even as they went down to the turn one. The long way around.
The extra road speed on that outside line gives you the better exit, a faster exit down into turn 2, and we've seen it 2 or 3 times already. So, you know, interesting stuff. If you could get down the outside of them and get that run out of turn 1, you might be able to get down around the outside.
I'll tell you what, Dave, it might actually sound a little bit better now that I can talk to you. Just realised, in all the action, all the excitement that's going on, forgot to plug in the studio broadcasting mic. That might help. Was operating the headset mic for a little bit. And there might be a few drivers out in the field. Sometimes they don't get themselves clipped into race mode much in the same way. That can broke up their stream. In the meantime, Hydes is going to show the nose to the inside of Baker. They will make contact as they get down to turn 6. Baker's going to go around, rejoins to the rear of the field, and someone else has gone off in front of them. Huge accident. I think that might have been Bartine.
And that looks like a... oh, it's definitely missing. Harry Lawrence missing the rear wing. I think Bartone's got some... Oh, he's definitely got some wheel alignment issues there.
So I think this is actually Harry Lawrence that'll go around. So this is the contact between Ewan Baker and Caleb Hydes as they get down into turn number 6. Around that goes, and then we'll keep our eyes on Harry Lawrence, all on his own. The rear end of that car comes unstuck, and around she goes, and unfortunately there were 6 cars on their way back through, and nothing they could really do. There was just a car parked in the apex. Sometimes it's about racecraft, sometimes it's about speed, and sometimes it's about not being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And look at this. So this is the 8-wheel stretched limo F4 there in second place with Damon down the inside again. I think he's got it this time. He's managed to keep the road speed up on the exit of turn 1, and he's got through. So Damon up into second. Now let's see if what he can do about Calum, because Calum is driving one of the widest F4s I've ever seen tonight.
And particularly on a wide track with lots of drafting opportunities and ability to overtake. Roberts seems to have the 1 lap pace, but when it comes to the race speed, that's where Damon Woods is doing well. And Woods got a phenomenal drive down on the back straight. He's just struggling a little bit, is Benjamin Roberts on the corner exits and the run off the corner. So now Woods is going to try and look to assault on Kalen Shinnon. We'll keep our eyes on that one a little bit further down. Hydes is starting to progress through the field as well. Started 7th, got a spot in that opening lap, and then got another one off Ewan Baker. So we'll have to keep an eye out for whether or not there's a penalty incoming. And for the drivers a little bit further back, Ewan Baker's still kicking on, but he's now in 9th position from 5th starting, and we'll see how the response goes from him.
Yeah, look, there's not a disaster. He's still in the mix here, and you know, I love the concentration on the face there, leaning into the corners, and wants some more horsepower.
We see go-karters do a little bit of that, and much like you ever sit down when you're playing video games, little Dave, and turn your head through the corner in the lean? I do the lean.
Oh,
I used to swivel chairs.
I look like I'm riding in the sidecar. You know, I look like the monkey at the side of the sidecar. I lean and I pull in. It's terrible. I'm okay in a real race car because I'm strapped in and can't move. But now Woods through to the lead. We missed that. Where's he pulled that one off?
This will be turn 1, so it's 2 moves and 2 laps at turn 1 for Damon Woods. Gets a great exit off the last corner. Does Chin cover him at all? Well, Chin doesn't cover there, which is the first. I just don't think he was. What's going on there? Is Chin maybe under-fueled fractionally? I
don't know. I think they're talking. The boys these 2 boys are good mates, and they do race together. So I think it's a little bit of on the headsets looking after each other here.
Well, you say that, but Damon Woods protects to the inside. Now Kalen Shin's going to try and go around the outside. So whatever the cause was, he caught him napping.
So no further action on the Caleb Hydes incident with Ewan Baker. I thought it was pretty fair. I thought that Caleb had got far enough up the inside. He deserved a bit of room. It was unfortunate, a bit of a racing incident. So I think that's a really good call there from race control.
Well, the good news is for Caleb Hydes, it means he can play on. In terms of things, won't have the post-race penalty to take, and he's at the back end of this group as well. For Ben Roberts and Tom Katsadonis, part of that Simrig CPR squad. They're hoping that maybe something happens in the dying stages of this one. They can sneak a couple of extra spots, and 5 minutes now on the clock to go. There's going to be approximately that as we get back past the start-finish line. 5 minutes and 10 seconds or so, which means in 1 minute 37-second lap, we're looking at about 3 laps left to run.
Okay, so the safety car's been parked for the rest of the heat race because they don't call a safety car within 5 seconds or 5 minutes of the finish, so that we do finish under green, not yellow, because finishing under yellow was just bad news.
I was just looking at this battle myself as well. Jack Mara for Snackachangi. I love the sponsorship plug he actually did for the Snackachangi the last time I was here in the commentary box at Hockenheim for the F4 series. That was phenomenal. That's great sponsorship support if ever I've seen it. He will be presented with an opportunity when they get down to the tail end of this straight. In the meantime, we've got this battle for the lead bunch, and Roberts gets to the inside of Chin, and I think they might have touched front wheel to rear wheel. I think there might be a little bit less lettering on the front left tyre of Benjamin Roberts and the rear right of Kalen Chin. And
you got Tom Katsudonis just sitting there trying to pick up the pieces. This is pretty close. This is on board with Ben Roberts down the inside. That's pretty close. No mark, no touch. Very, very nice. Gee, it was tight.
That is perfect. No contact whatsoever. In the meantime, though, Roberts gets a little bit wide as they come off of turn number 10. Katsudonis gets the inside. Caleb Hyde is going to try and come through as well. So it's two spots with one mistake, and that's how much it costs when you run a little bit wide.
One tiny little mistake and 2 spots gone like that. Unbelievable.
He's still not out of it, though. He's going to be able to recover. But the problem is, Caleb Hydes is running well, you would have to say. Feeling comfortable. 7th place now to 4th from the start of this race, and he is the man on fire.
And Tom Katsudonis put out a really, really good showing here. So he's managed to sort of fight his way back through Roberts and Hyde and get up into 3rd place. So he's sitting on a podium position, which is a really nice effort for the opening race tonight. And he'd be probably thinking, I'm feeling pretty good for the main.
Mate, I tell you what, when we go to the main, the one thing I would not want to do out of all of these guys is lead the way. The amount of fuel saving that the guys, if I'm in Ben Roberts' shoes at the tail end of this lead pack, when we get to the feature race later on, I'm fuel saving. I tell you what, Bailey Evans is actually tagged onto the back end of this one as well. So for the last lap, he's taken 0.7 of a second out of Roberts in the last lap, and that's just enough to tag onto the rear end of this one. So 5 becomes 6 with that draft now on offer to Bailey Evans.
Yeah, and Phil Worley's leading the charge of the second group and trying so hard. We saw him caught up there at the start, and he's dropped that sort of 5-6 car lengths, and he's out of that tow, and he's really struggling, but he can see them. The carrot's there, but he just can't catch it at the moment. So, but, you know, they only need to make a little bit of a mess, and Worley and Mara will be right back on them as well.
In terms of lap times, 37.0 thus far. Fastest racing lap for Damon Woods, and there's next to nothing in between it. Less than a 10th back to the next fastest lap of the race. You can see why. Whoa. Using all the track. That's so critical to an improving young racing car driver, isn't it?
He certainly used all the track. He was nearly using a little bit too much there, but we get a little replay. I think we're going to get a little replay of it here. He got really wide, and the car it's got a bit sideways, and he just hung on to it without touching a wheel in the dirt. So he hasn't done a Ben Roberts there. That was Ben's problem. He just got that little wheel in the dirt, and it was just enough that he just lost momentum and 2 cars straight past.
That's really, really important. Dave was checking the momentum. See how Kalen Chin just lifted, backed his corner exit up? There's no point. If you're that close to the gearbox of the car in front of you, you cannot get the run and the overspeed you need to get the job done down here. That was really, really important racecraft from Kalen Chin, is knowing how much to back off. Now, Damon Woods is going to come to the inside, change the race lead. Maybe they go even as they get down into turn number 6. Yep. Still out the other side for Damon Woods, so he's hanging on to it just.
Damon nice and late under brakes, really threw it deep into there to hold off Kalen around the outside.
Now the bickering starts to become more and more important. There's 50 seconds left on the clock. I get the feeling we might actually be on the last lap of this race, and that's why Chin had to have a go. That was the premium opportunity, was down to 6. One skips all across the curves. He's thrown away the entire bag of marbles on the last lap of the race. He didn't need to do that, didn't need need to be aggressive at the turn-in point, and race win from the heat race here at Circuit de Jerez becomes 6th place as everyone barrels on through, and Caleb Chin just got a huge one. No, I think this is it. I really think this is it. Oh, it's tight. You know what? We are going to get one more lap.
Yeah, one more lap. Just for good luck.
Oh,
that was really wide. So he's got a bit, he's cut in, you'll see it here. He's cut in, he's taken that apex, he's hit that green curb, launched the car. It did really, really well to hang on to that out there.
That could have easily ended in disaster. It hasn't.
Well, that's made our feature race a lot more exciting, seeing Damon Woods come through from 6th, and we'll see how he does. But so Caleb Chin out in front, unchallenged at the moment. He's got a nice little gap there. It's only just 2 car lengths, but it's just enough over Katsudonis that he should be able to hold this off down here. This is the last chance. Look at down the inside, and the grass there was my gosh, that was Bailey Evans down on the grass.
Yeah, now it's still going to continue on out the other side of turn number 6. It's going to be Bailey Evans and Caleb Hydes wheel to wheel. You can't say door to door because they're Formula cars, and now it's trying to make it 3 wide on the run down in here. They've managed to get out the other side. Woods will clip the inside yet again. Hydes swaps sides from the gearbox. Now it's back to the outside. Can he turn it back underneath him? Can he get a nose in front? No, he can't here. Looking for drive out the other side. Doesn't quite get enough. And they're falling backwards a little bit in the big ring because there's only one more lap to go. This is it. A couple corners to the end. Now Caleb Hydes makes a mistake. They make contact. Through goes Woods. The run to the final corner. It's just about done. Bailey Evans picking everyone's pocket on the last lap. And here comes Phil Worley into the background of this one as well. So it's going to be Chin from Katsudonis, from Roberts to the line. 4th spot is going to end up being Bailey Evans. Damon Woods home in 5th, and Caleb Hydes 6th just over Phil Worley and Jack Mara. And that was an exciting last 2 laps of that race.
Well, I think some even more exciting last 2 corners there. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I'm sure Luke will come up with a replay as I say that. Here he is. So I missed what happened in the front there. So Caleb's got wide on the dirt and had to have a lift.
Yeah, there was next to no space for them all to get back through there. He's trying to defend as much as he can. That's bravery as well. That was Phil Worley trying to pick the pockets at the tail end. That was phenomenal.
Get us back to the main straight there on that last lap when Caleb had Bailey Evans right in on the grass. He wasn't giving him any room down that back straight. And I could see Bailey running down the grass with his foot hard to the floor. So I thought that was going to be a disaster there for a minute.
I'll tell you what, there was at the last Logitech Pro race of the year in the V8 Supercars, there was a pass on the grass on lap number 1 for the race lead. And I'll tell you what, these guys, there's no fear whatsoever. They're just all bravery.
Well, you don't get hurt if you crash, do you?
That's the benefit, isn't it? That's the benefit. Takes bravery sometimes to be good. It takes a little bit of stupidity. You'd have to be mad to be successful in one of these things. And for Caleb Chin, I think he's the right side of the mad.
Yeah, nice job, nice drive, and in the end, well deserved. And I think that set up a really nice feature race for us myself.
Yeah, and for Damon Woods did manage to get back to 5th place. The race 1 winner, Caleb Chin, is actually going to take a few moments here in a few minutes to speak to us. Tom Katsudonis, Ben Roberts, Bailey Evans, Damon Woods, your top 5. Caleb Hydes, Phil Worley, Jack Marrett, Ewan Baker comes back to 9th, and Rob Bowden round out your top 10. And for everyone outside of there, Dave?
There's another race for them to get in the top 10. So we've got sitting at the moment, Caleb Dawson, Brody Shepherd, Brody Tressiter. The Brodies are back there. Damien Cairns back in 14th. Harry Lawrence, unfortunately, Harry Lawrence and Scott Bartain, after that incident, they were pretty much out of it a minute and a lap down. So, yeah.
I'll tell you what, I hope
looking
we got
forward to the next one.
Caleb Chin here with us for a few moments, mate. That was tough fought. Obviously, defending wasn't necessarily all that easy. You and Damon Woods went toe-to-toe there. It's really just, it's a wide track, good for racing, lots of overtaking opportunities in Formula 4 here.
Yeah, the slipstream is really powerful as well, and the others also had lower wing than I did, and just defending every corner is like just to keep the lead was really important, and then Damon made that really big mistake, which ultimately gave me the lead and the win.
does the script change a little bit here from the feature? Because obviously that tow is so powerful now. It comes a little bit about fuel saving, preventing the extra fuel that you've got to add to the car. That's where a lot of the time gain is made. Are you going to have a crack at the fuel save? Going to just try and punch out in front again and just stay ahead of any mistakes that might split the pack behind you?
It depends how many cars are in the train. If everyone's in the train, then really fuel saving is going to be the most important thing, as everyone else. Oh.
Your pit stop's going to be pretty important too, isn't it? Because there's tenths of a second between you on the track, but it's very easy to lose a whole second in the pits.
Yeah, I know that from last race, and especially the how difficult the pit entry here is in Jerez. So the pit stop's definitely going to be one of the most important parts of the race. So hopefully all things go well, and maybe fuel saving strategies depending on how big the trains are, and we'll see how it goes.
All right, well, good luck, and thanks for the entertainment in the first one. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Race car drivers, they're a little bit insane, but they're quick, and God, we love watching them work quite hard. That was a phenomenal day from race number 1, and we got to see an uncharacteristic Damon Woods mistake. When was the last time you could say you saw that?
I haven't seen one yet.
Well, you've seen one tonight. There you go. Something to chalk off the bucket list before the end of 2023.
It's pretty easy to sort of, in these things, they're driving them so hard and you've got to be inch perfect. And all he's done is managed to get, he's 6 inches inside of where he should have been and hit that curb, and the car has just launched. A bit more than 6 inches, probably a foot or two. But that's unusual to see that sort of error of judgment. Really, that was an error of judgment on the apex. So anyway, he's proved to us that he's pretty good when it comes to mistakes, but he's just proved tonight he's human.
Have a think about this one as well. The Jack Mara finished on the podium at Hockenheim, and tonight only capable of 8th in the heat race. What's on the cards for him come feature time? Could it be that heroic drive through the field in the second race for Ewan Baker, who's going to be starting off alongside of him as well? Dropped a couple of spots with that contact with Caleb Hyde. So I don't think those two are going to be the biggest of friends when they get back to each other on the racetrack.
I think Ewan and Jack both got caught up, stuck behind. I think Caleb was a little slow on the first few laps and sort of dropped back off the front and held them all up, and that created a little battle pack back there, and by battling together they lost touch with the front group. So they'll be very mindful of that and trying not to hold each other up and try and stay in the slipstream and stay with the lead group, because anyone here in the top 10 could really win this feature race with a good strategy and a good pit stop. And the pit stop's going to be really key. The entry here is quite awkward, and it's very easy to get a slowdown from the pit entry. So it'd be interesting to have a look, and I don't know what they'll run. Who'll run short, who'll run long. I expect Damon and Kalen will both run very, very long. I expect Tom will probably do a long run as well. Benjamin Roberts is known to do a little bit of a left curve, and he might just take a bit earlier pit stop and take the clean track and just run by himself to see if he could make his way so he can make more time on the track and take the lead when they stop. So we'll wait and see. Could be interesting.
Fuel levels as well will have an impact on those lap times. So coming in nice and early in the first couple of laps, the earliest possible point minimises the fuel gap between the cars around you. Kalen Chin won race number 1. Tom Katsadonis off alongside of him. Ben Roberts and Bailey Evans make up your row number 2 for the two teammates. Damon Woods and Caleb Hydes on row number 3. Phil Worley, Jack Mara on row number 4. Ewan Baker and Rob Bowden round out your top 10, Dave.
Yeah, Rob Bowden's been quiet tonight. He will come into his own in the longer race with a pit stop and a bit of strategy, because that's Rob's sort of one of his key strengths is pretty sharp on the strategy, and we're off.
That's it, the run down to turn number 1. Chin led him away from heat number 1. Chin that leads us away yet again. Katsadonis Catsadonis didn't get a great start. Ben Roberts got a little bit closer than he necessarily would have liked, and Bailey Evans got a phenomenal one round the outside of Phil Worley, his teammate. Actually, you know what? He actually got a terrible one. It was Phil Worley who got a phenomenal jump. Now it's going to be Mara who tries to go down the inside of them, and Caleb Hydes is going backwards as well. Woods is up to fourth, and it's going to be Worley from Evans. Hydes really tight as they round turn at number 3 and into 4. And the run down towards the back straight for the first time of the feature race here tonight, Dave.
I feel like I'm watching the Melbourne Cup there for a minute.
I'll turn for home, and now here comes the run of the line. Always wanted to get a horse racing commentary, something different, something a little bit, might even be up my alley, who knows?
Yeah, so Jack Mara's got himself in front of Ewan Baker, and he's got himself in front of Caleb Hyde, so he's made a great little start there. Now Caleb Dawson, there we go. Yeah. Concentrate, buddy, you need to. You're down the back. Come on, pick it up.
Dave Roberts offering coaching advice from on board the car in race number 2. It's really important for him to settle himself in at this point in time, because it's going to be about when does his pack break and where does it break. In the meantime, up front, keeping our eyes on the ever-fast starting Damon Woods. And the first few cars are actually split off by about half a second at the moment as they try and bring these tyres up to temperature. Shin made a little bit of a mistake through the second last corner there. We heard from him running high downforce, so the rest of the guys will be aware of that now. And everyone will be aware of each other's race pace. Whether or not, I reckon that high downforce might make a better race car, but it'll be slow on that straight.
Now, Ewan Baker's got himself through on Caleb Hydes as well. So Caleb's gone quite backwards in this opening lap. He's down to, where is he now? He's down to 9th place.
It's a difficult opening lap there for Caleb Hydes and for Ewan Baker. Driver does quite well on an oval course as well. Does enjoy some oval racing from time to time. Enjoys racing stock cars on the iRacing Sim service, so it's been good to see him do well in a Formula 4 league as well. And for now, Jack Mara just ahead is starting to assault Bailey Evans, who made a little bit of a mistake. And have a look at these guys at the tail end of the field. It's really tight back here for, what is it, 12th at the moment. Remember, Lawrence is coming through the field, as is Scott Barside after contact on the early stages of that last race. And now looking to try and defend off. Lawrence is at the head of this field. Will he still be ahead when they get down here to turn 6? Yes, just about. And the pack up ahead checks up aggressively to get into the corner. Looking to go underneath was Damien Cairns on Brody Shepherd as well. And they'll go side by side out the other side.
Yeah, so Caleb's gone from 6th on the grid down to 9th. That's 3 spots dropped. So he's obviously struggling a little bit on those cold tyres. But we saw him come on really, really good towards the end of the heat race. So is he going to do the same thing here in the feature? I hope so, just to stir things up and cause a bit more mayhem.
Yeah, it's always difficult to recover that track position you've lost. In the meantime, this is the battle for the lead. Catsadonis is starting to creep up, and this is the first time Catsadonis has had an opportunity to get close to that gearbox of Caitlin Chin as it stands. It was Ben Roberts that had the best opportunities, I think, in race number 1, but for now it's going to be Tom Catsadonis who gets the opportunities. How well does Damien Woods fare? Well, he's right there on the rear gearbox assembly. Go ahead.
There's a second gap between Woods and Worley, so that's where the holes appeared here. We've got that group of 4, and then we've got Worley, and look who's there. Jack Mara's coming back.
We're going to have to start calling him feature race specialist after this week if he does it yet again. And that's where the bulk of the points are. But for the meantime, everyone's settling in. And I tell you what, Caitlin Chin's actually picked up off tracks on the first 2 laps thus far. Has not set a valid lap time as of yet. So he is pushing the track limits to try and maintain the head of this field. Whether or not he settles down on lap number 3, we'll find out.
So I'm going to call Mr. Mara Mr. Main Event from now on.
Mr. Main Event. Love it. Love it. And for the meantime, Bowden's continuing to assault the rear wing of Bailey Evans and Caleb Hydes. And Hydes has dropped another spot, I think.
Yeah, Rob Bowden's just not got the pace that he normally has. He's just, and it's not much, it's just a tenth or two. A tenth or two's, hardly even a car length, but it's enough in this to make a huge difference in these cars. So he's just really struggling for that straight, outright pace tonight. Anyway, the pack's not as tight as it was in the heat race. In the heat race, it was much tighter. We had 6, 7, 8 cars all tied together. Caleb there, back on. Could have ironed that T-shirt, mate.
He's been known to listen along. Sometimes he knows he's being broadcast. He gave us a wave a little bit earlier in the piece, but you can see the eyes are switched on
Concentrating now.
Yeah. Lap 1 is where all the shenanigans happen. Lap 2 onwards, no, I've got the head down, focused. Yeah, he's trying to throw the body weight over it, trying to get the sidecar lean into it. And in the meantime, Bailey Evans has fallen off the back of Ewan Baker, and this squabble with Caleb Hides as they start to go side by side. Hides look for a gap at turn number 5. He gets the car pivoted nicely into 6. He's going to have a run when they come out the other side, but is he going to run in a straight line to get this move? He might go for a late dive down into turn number 6. Gets close, pulls out to have a dive at the corner. Gets alongside, gets the nose ahead, and Bailey Evans is going to get contact with Rob Bowden, who tried to squeeze in the middle of that. Dawson's going to go round to the back end of the group, and that was not a gap. Well, that was a gap that closed very quickly.
So that was... Somebody's copped a fair bit of damage in the middle of that, I think.
And I think it is actually Caleb Dawson. There's definitely a crinkle in his front wing and a little bit of a rub on the nose cone as well. So,
and a new crease in his t-shirt.
Well, this is the moment on board. It was Rob Bowden, I think, that's got a heavy whack to the rear end of his car.
Yeah, so it was Caleb Dawson that copped the brunt of that. He got caught out when Rob came to a really sudden stop. So somebody's dived into the pits there. Now, who was that? That is Rob Bowden straight into the pits. So obviously he's got a little damage. He's going to take an early pit stop, do the instant repair, fill the car up with fuel, and go to the finish.
The way that group was squabbling, it might actually be faster this way. He's not going to have the tow, which means that that will be of no benefit to him. But the way they were squabbling, that was costing each other around about a second lap, was how much that fighting was going on. So we might see come the mid-race point and everyone does their pit stops. But for Jack Marra, continuing to try and assault the front end of this the lead group, he's just outside the tow range at the moment. That's the gap back there. And then behind him, he's got Phil Woolley and Ewan Baker are about to go for it.
It's a good corner for, sticking it down the inside there. That's where, if I remember right, that's the corner where Jacques Villeneuve and Michael Schumacher had their nasty little tete-a-tete.
Yeah, it might have been indeed, because that's not the first time I've heard that comment about that. And waggles of the finger abound sometimes. It's a beautiful circuit coming here. It's fast, it's flowing. It's all about getting the car balanced and wanting to pivot in whilst maintaining that speed. It's so important to be able to pick up the throttle early here. So it's about getting that drive off. Sometimes it's late apexes, sometimes it's early. It takes a lot of technical skill and cadence braking, and indeed, there it is.
Here we go. My memory. Michael just turned deliberately into him, and Jacques was going straight on to run him off the road anyway. So, picnic time at the party.
That's what happens when drivers both get wound up in their egos just a little bit. No, it's my right of corner, my right of way. No, it's my right of way. And, when the egos clash, they clash in a big way.
So I think that was another case like the Adelaide Grand Prix where Michael turned into Damon, where if he put Jacques out of the race, he effectively either led or won the championship or whatever. And what happened was he turned into him and he damaged Jacques' car, but the car was still okay. Michael's wasn't, and Jacques was able to drive through. And if I remember right, win the race. And it was a big difference in the championship. So amazing things like that. Yeah, great circuit. But I wouldn't like to drive an F1, a modern F1 around here. The cars then were so much smaller was the main thing. These new F1 cars are just so big. They're like racing bloody stretched limos. They're so big. When you see the reference where if you look at a 70s, 80s, 90s and current sort of F1s, these things are just monsters. And that's my biggest criticism of F1 today, is the cars are just too big. And they're too big for the tracks. They've outgrown everything because they've turned into these monsters. They need to get them back to small cars. But all that extra size is, there we go, look at that. Look at the growth size down on the left-hand end there. It's just massive when you look at it. Look at the last car there. That's like a truck.
Yep, I agree. I totally and utterly agree. We've gone outlandish. At some point, right towards, it's when that car jumped out again. That last big jump in car size was where it sort of started to go down.
Mercedes caused that with the long wheelbase, and then because they added in the electronics package and the whatever, and then the crush structure, and they had to get the feet behind the front wheel, and things just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I think we just got to make it small size and say, that's it, guys, work out how it works. You got some of the best brains in the world, the best brains in the world. If they can't work it out, you know, nobody's going to. But just let's get back to what it was 10 years ago, the size-wise, and make the cars relevant to the circuits again. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yep. Yeah, I completely and utterly agree. And anyway, it is what it is. That's what the success of Formula E has been. A tidy little package that wiggles around on its tyres that can race anywhere because it's not affected by sound restrictions. And that's why they've been so effective, as well as cars whereby the front wing breaks off them, and you just keep going on. The amount of guys that have got damage on their cars that can still finish on the podium in the top 5 is ridiculous, because the aero structure is not doing all that much. It's not so sensitive that any damage to it matters effectively. And as the race trickles on, we've now hit the 10-minute mark. Indeed, we're about 12 minutes into this one. And 1/3 race distance complete. I'm coming up on it, sorry, my apologies. I can't even count tonight, Dave.
No? Sorry, I'm just replying to a telephone call that you may have heard in the background.
Do the creases, a question from Cher come in on YouTube, do the creases affect with the slipstream? They affect the aero, they affect everything. So yeah, it makes the car not quite as big. With these cars, it's not a huge effect for that small crease on the front end of Caleb Dawson's car.
88 was the year. They were the best cars that we ever had. Fantastic cars. But I reckon we should just say that's the size of it. Safety cells, whatever. You work it out. Fit it in.
Heck, if we even go back to a V4 engine, I don't care. I don't care. Just make them racy. I want to see, you know, these guys that can make overtakes at Monaco.
Chuck the stupid electric pack out the window and we might get somewhere.
Anyway, chucking it down the inside is Ewan Baker right now as he goes down the inside and gets out the other side on Jack Mara. Mara's going to come back at him, gets to the inside as they go through turn 7. And now the run down to 8, and he will have the inside as he sent it deep. Doesn't clear him, just about clears him. Just barely. There was millimetres in that, and now Phil Worley's going to have a go. Ewan Baker's back to the inside. It's still not done for Jack Morley. They're going to go 2 by 2 through 8, through 9. Now it's a double right-hander. Has Mara been able to hang on to the speed? Worley certainly has. He's going to go around the both of them.
This is wild. Look at this. 3-car train, 2 abreast everywhere. Fantastic. And
Ewan Baker with the crisscross.
Lovely little crisscross. Didn't quite get there. Yes, he got there. He forced Jack to do that. Tighten. Now Jack's dropped 2 spots. Boy, oh boy.
That's racecraft for you. Yep, okay, even if I don't get the move done here, you're going to have to go to defending me. You might even have to run off the
lovely little switch here. You watch this coming up, and he's got side by side. Jack's got a little bit sideways off there, but he seems to have good speed. And if they've come through here, he's picked up that toe and he's just gone right double and looking like I'm going to the right, and I'm going to dive down the left. That beautiful Dan Ricciardo at Monza on Vettel. Perfect. Beautiful.
Intelligent heads-up racing, and now that's got Ewan Baker to the head of this field, but not for long. And this is the lead pack as well, because we might want to go back. Philip Worley's going to get down the inside as they get to turn number 6. Mara's indeed. Mara goes around, and what was shaping up as a phenomenal race for Jack Mara, now he's facing the wrong direction. He's dropped back to P9.
Okay, he's back to not miss the main event.
Spoke too soon. Spoke too soon.
Commentator's curse.
Yep.
Sorry, Jack.
Well, at least he made it exciting for us on the way through, and now he's got the problem of trying to look after those tyres. Back to the lead end of the race. Chin still hanging on over Katsunonis from Roberts from Damon Woods. Damon Woods hasn't looked uber aggressive as yet here, Dave. You reckon he's... Yeah, that was a big lift from Damon Woods on the run down the last corner, by the way.
Yeah, so he's sitting right in under the tail of the car in front. I'm wondering whether he's doing a bit of fuel saving there. But the gaps are quite big, except for the one between Damon and Ben Roberts. He was really close for most of that lap, a lot closer than the other guys were, and I wonder whether he's just trying to save some fuel there or put some pressure on Ben. Yeah, pressure's always a good thing.
And we're making Ben think about his racing as well. And sometimes, if the opportunity presents itself, Damon will absolutely switch back out of this fuel conservation mode, and he'll press back on. But it's about keeping an eye on it. For the meantime, we go audio up. This is what it looks like to take a lap of second ref in a Formula 4 car.
Yeah, so Luke's telling me, because he's got the audio and I haven't, and he's telling me that Damon is clutching, fuel saving everywhere. So that's exactly what's going on. So he's got the audio up.
How critical this is for this race. We talked about it with Kalen Chin, and Kalen said, yeah, look, I mean, if the opportunity presents itself, and for Damon Woods, he was in that right spot, the opportunity absolutely presented itself. In the meantime, Chin actually makes a huge mistake as they get down there to 8, and to use the extra downforce on the nose of the car.
So the thing is, if Damon can save fuel, what it means is he has to put less in the car at the pit stop, which will give him a quicker pit stop. So Caleb's having a ball here tonight. He's two abreast, around the outside, down the middle, having fun.
The concentration, the tipping it in, try not to over push it on that steering wheel. Look at the smoothness of it. Now it's going to be Dawson who goes to the inside of Brody Shepard. He checks them both up, and through comes Damien Cairns. Mate, I tell you what, it nearly went phenomenal. Now it's turned to disaster. He went from master to disaster in a heartbeat.
And Dawson dived straight into the pit. Did you see his face during that? It was awesome. Can we get a replay on the face there, Luke? That was just fabulous.
I get the feeling that might be just
Watch
a little
the
bit
face
too...
here.
Oh, we're going to get it.
Face. We're going to get it. We're going to get the face here, and he's going to come down here, and he sees it happen, and it's like the eyebrows go up, and then he has a look, and his mouth goes open, and he goes... Here we go. Watch now. Ooh, and straight in the pits. Very, very good. And I love the way he dived into the pits right on that spot. Good time to go.
There's a few benefits of doing sim racing, and getting the driver face cams is one of them, because you get phenomenal reaction style moments like that.
Yeah, that was quite funny.
So
Face was telling the story. Now somebody's run very, very wide there. Who was that? Tom Katsudanis, I think, has run very, very wide there. And he's lost second spot at the moment. He's lost second spot to Ben Roberts and dropped back. So Damon Woods tried to take advantage of that as well, but he hasn't been able to do so. But he's very, very tight on Tom down into the last corner. I think he'll try and stick it up the inside. No, he won't. So at the moment, Kalen's got a little bit of a gap here. He's got a 1.5 second gap over Roberts. So whatever that moment that Katsudonis had there has given Kalen an opportunity to escape. So now he will be head down, absolutely driving as hard as he can to try and grow that gap and drop these guys out of the slipstream and give himself a good safe lead. So and back there, Woods is battling with the do I save fuel? I got to save fuel. I got to save fuel, but I don't want to let him go. So.
Yep, there's the update from the incident between those guys. Damien Cairns unfortunately grabs himself a 5-second post-race penalty, and I tell you what, there wasn't much in it. That 5 seconds, whilst the result was obviously a little bit worse than that, I get the feeling that 5 seconds sort of summed up the penalty. I think that's a really good job by Race Control. They haven't reacted based upon the outcome, they've reacted based upon the incident. Perfect. We're going to see this again, are we?
That's what happens inside every race driver's helmet. You don't normally get to see it because it's inside a helmet. But yes.
Reminds me of that episode of The Simpsons, Dave. I wonder if you've seen this one where Lisa's dating Ralph Wiggum.
No.
Here's the moment where you pinpoint Ralph's heart breaks.
I've never been a Simpsons watcher.
There you go.
Funny enough.
I don't blame you. I mean, there's something in it for some people, not for everyone. There you go. Something we've learned tonight. Dave Roberts doesn't watch The Simpsons. We're talking about things that...
Bits and pieces, but yeah, no, not a Simpsons fan.
For the meantime, Kalen Chin is maintaining the... He hasn't pulled away. That's the key factor. Once he broke that toe, it has not fallen away. Let's look a little bit further back down the field as we jump to Ewan Baker and Phil Worley. And this one has been phenomenal, the squabbling that's been going on for these guys. Worley gets a little bit crossed up on the exit. Ewan Baker is all over him. That's not really a passing spot down the inside of turn 4, but he's going to try and make it. It becomes the outside of turn 5. He'll be looking for the momentum because he can see the cars up ahead, and he wants to get going and see if he can't catch them. He's going to cross Phil Worley back over. Does Worley get the drive off out the other side? Oh, they're even. It's not done. And Ewan Baker's close enough that when they get down here to turn 6, there might be an opportunity on the inside. Front axle or rear axle at the moment. They're even on the way into the braking. They both go in deep. Ewan Baker gets down the inside. Another pass done, up to P5.
I don't think it's over yet, though. I would not be surprised to see Phil Worley come back at him. But the toe on these cars, they're going to have to work together. Oh, Caleb Dawson's had another off there. More facial expressions, I expect.
This one looks like it might have just been all on his own, unfortunately.
Yep. Yep, he just lost the rear. Around, so nicely round and kept it going. Didn't lose a lot out of that.
But you start to wonder as the fuel balance burns out of these cars and the weight in the rear end becomes just that fraction lighter. The balance on the car will change. Who's got the better long-run balance? And having a look at times...
Baker into the pit lane I saw in the background.
Yeah, he recognises he's got the pace, he recognises he's got the opportunity to go after them. And just prior to the halfway mark of the feature race here tonight, he's going to pit, get himself out of the draft and see what he can do.
Be interested to see where he comes out of the pit lane and whether he's in traffic or whether he's in clear road. If he's in clear road and he can get his head down, you never know. He might just be able to pick a little bit of that time back up.
I'll tell you what though, Ben Roberts took about 1/10 of a second out of Kalen Chin on that most recent lap. So Roberts has got pace for this race lead. It's not over and done with yet. And for Ewan Baker, or does he rejoin? He rejoins down in 10th at this point in time. He's the leader of the cars that have pit, and he's the leader of the cars that have pit by about 9.5 seconds. So we'll keep again an eye on that one as this battle continues to hot up.
The other thing here is that you've got Roberts and Katsadonis both in the Simrigs cars, and I'm sure they're probably talking to each other on the headset, saying, just stay behind, stay in the tow, let's concentrate, let's go get this guy, because if they stop fighting between each other and Ben knows he's not going to be attacked, then they can really sit down and put some quick laps together.
No, eyes forward, not eyes behind. And I think Damon Woods as well. We talked about it a little bit early. You know, you might want to work with these guys. You might want to stay with just so you can close that gap down to the car up ahead. And I think Woods was just recognised the importance of somebody putting in the lap times to do so at the moment. And he's done that just the same. They've taken another 10th out of Kalen Chin up ahead of them this lap. So the pace is still there for Ben Roberts. We'll see whether or not he can show it when he gets all the way up here.
Tenths are not going to do it though, because the gap is too big.
But now everything seems to sort of stabilised. About the only cars I think we've got fighting is looks to be Caleb Dawson and Scott Bartine. They're about the closest cars on track, other than 2, 3, 4 that we were just watching. 5 and 6. Phil Worley and Caleb Hydes are still somewhat close together at the moment. Actually, they're probably the closer battle out of everyone. So it's important for Roberts to continue trying to close this gap down. Well, the drivers have stopped. Ewan Baker, 5-second stop, was 5.1. That's longer than everyone else that we've seen. So if Ewan Baker, after all the pit stops were cycled out, that might actually be too long.
5.1, 4.4 behind him for Rob Bowden. And Rob would have had, I would have thought Rob had more fuel to put in. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Well, he had damage as well, did Rob Bowden, to take. So spare wing, spare car. However you want to treat it, however you want to call it.
Yeah, they get one fast repair, so that'd be an instant thing. As soon as he came to a stop, the car would be repaired.
It actually adds about half a second, full second to the pit stop, Dave. So it's not.
Does it? Cool.
Yeah, it's not instantaneous. So unless Ewan Baker took his as well, that might account for a few different things. But Ewan at the moment is closing in on Brody Tressida. Is the next car up on him at the moment, which is a little bit of tow. It is a little bit of draft to work with, but you'll also need to make sure you clear him as quickly as possible to take advantage of that.
Should be giving him a bit quicker lap time, so You see what his lap time is this time round. They just come out to the finish and pop up beside him. So 37.9 there. Mara's doing, what's Mara's time? Is 37.7. Tressida goes 37.3 for Baker, which is the quickest of all those, that group in front. So yeah, very, very quick there in the toe, getting a bit of advantage out of that. So probably pulled about a half a second. So
yeah, so we took half a second out of Jack Mara and Bailey Evans, and Phil Worley's just been overtaken as well. So I think he is continuing to go toe-to-toe with Caleb Hydes, and indeed he is, because Hydes is now on the outside yet again. So that would be the inside when they were down at turn number 6. Didn't get the job done this time. He's going to look for the switchback, becomes the outside again. And does Worley go deep in at turn number 9? No, he doesn't. So he gets it parked up nice and evenly, and then runs it all the way out there. Gee, Caleb Hydes is not letting Phil Worley have an easy night at the office.
And vice versa.
Yeah, it's been
trying to come back down the inside into the last corner, and he's done it.
Oh, great cross back over from Phil Worley. He's got really good drive when they get out the other side, but it's the outside at turn number 1. He will creep up alongside, by the time they get down here, he's actually going to be dead on even with Caleb Hydes, and they will head into turn 1 directly side by side. Front wing ahead, wiggle on the inside for Caleb Hydes as the balance comes out of the car.
He's working on the wheel there. You know, unfolds the lock in the middle of that corner. Does not make a quick corner at all. You have a look at the wheel work here from Caleb Hyde. He's soaring at that wheel in the middle of the corner.
When you see the handwork from outside the car, that's always a bad sign. A flash of the gloves. This time we might get it. There it is. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. Any more takers in the pit stop? Doesn't look so on the most recent time by. Down to the inside goes Hydes yet again, trying to get something over. They just about make contact out the other side at turn 6. Still doesn't get the job done. But I tell you what, Caleb Hydes is sick of seeing the rear wing of Phil Worley. He wants some clean air.
They're having a ball, these two. So Caleb's car appears to be a little bit loose. He might be running a little bit less wing, you know, to make the car a bit looser in the corners, but giving him that extra bit in the straight line. So, yeah.
And Ben Roberts is going to peel off this time by.
Yep, pitting.
Come to the lane, which means Damon Woods is going to go sailing on by, and this might be the time where Damon Woods goes, yep, no point saving any more fuel. Now it's press on time. Can't extend the stint out any farther. And we'll see what he does with the time. Phil Worley's also in as well, which is not a bad call. So we'll keep half an eye on where he ends up in relation to Ewan Baker, which he was fighting before the stops.
Let's see what these pit stop times are.
It's only a short stop too thus far tonight. Roberts has been in there for a very long time. Did Ben Roberts get a penalty? No, he didn't.
It looked to me like he cut a lot of that pit entry off. He may have very well copped a penalty on the way in.
And unfortunately for Ben Roberts, on a night where he thought he might have been going like, yeah, he's still sat there. That is 100% a penalty. And the smallest of the penalties are 40 seconds. That's what they start at when you're stuck in the box. That's what he's serving right now.
When he went in there, he used so much of the inside of the road, and I thought, gee, that's really pushing it. He could get a penalty out of that, and he has. So there we go.
Have a look at the response now from Damon Woods. He's really starting to apply the blowtorch to Tom Katsadonis.
So now Roberts coming out of the pit exit now, and he's 44.6 seconds. So here's the entry. We're going to watch Ben on the way in. You watch him on the way into this pit lane. He dives in the pit lane, and he's fine, but he cuts the corner really heavily on the way in. So you'll see it here. He took so much of that inside corner, and that's a penalty.
Yep, and see what the penalty is. It's not an out-and-out regular penalty, not a cut the course penalty, nothing like that. Unsafe pit lane entry. It's a slowdown penalty. Why he stopped was because if he can clear it before he gets to that cone, no penalty. He didn't clear it in time. That's why he came to the stop, and his front axle was past that cone, so the penalty just got assigned to him.
Wow.
A meter further back, and he was okay.
Yeah, he won't be happy. and pretty unfair, but we have no control over that. That's a iRacing issue, and it's the same for everybody. So, yeah, unfortunately, Ben's fallen foul of it.
Regular Thursday night series, a commentator on Dave Roberts was here last week. No, not last week, the week before, my apologies. And there was a couple like that, but it was the second time that actually come. So most of the drivers knew. I think there only ended up being 2 penalties out of 40 cars. So they knew about it. But, yeah, it is the same for everyone. Kalen Shin also pit that time by. So Damon Woods is the only car to continue on for the extra lap. And he is the last car to pit. He is going to need to add 1 lap less worth of fuel to this car to make it home. And we are under 15 minutes left to go. Yeah, he could get a second.
He was doing plenty of fuel saving with the clutch in, so we'll see whether he's managed to add an extra lap of fuel or not. So there we come down, heading down towards the pit entry. So one more corner, I think it is.
Oh, he's got more.
Yeah,
he's got 2 laps worth of fuel. That'll be worth about 2. I reckon that might be worth 2 seconds in the lane. That's phenomenal saving from Damon Woods. You had to have a go. You had to really push the marker. And have a look at Kalen Chin and the margin he's now got off Tom Katsadonis as well. It's 2.2 seconds. What the lane time's like, I wonder, between those two. Because Chin has opened it up just a fraction more.
Yeah, it's just 2.3, 2.4 seconds, isn't it? And here's Caleb Hyde and Ewan Baker. I don't think they were happy after the first race, so let's finish this one a little better, boys. Poor old Ben Roberts, they're back in 15th place.
And unfortunately for Brody Shepherd, bad night becomes worse. And Damien Cairns has just let our race leader go through. This will tell the story for Brody Roberts. And not 100% confident where that one is. That might be the first sector. No, that can't be the first sector.
Whoop. It's always terrible when you spin it round and you go too far and you feel like a goose. So easy to do. So now Damien Woods was held up a little bit there by Damien Cairns and made a request for Damien to let him through, and Damien pulled over to let him through because, you know, Damien is hot on it. He can't afford to lose any time. This is his make-up time. He is hard at it, head down. Now he comes into the pit lane. We'll see him.
See the difference in pit lane entry.
Yep.
Kisses that inside.
Yep.
Just kisses it. He was, it's about 27 seconds from entry to the pit lane to the exit of the pit lane. He was about 20 seconds in the race lead when he came to the lane. And here comes Kalen Chin.
I think he'll get Katsadonis, but I think Kalen's just going to hang on to this lead, is my thought. But I think he may have popped Katsadonis. He may come out in that little gap in the middle is what I'm reckoning. So
it's going to be tight. It's going to be really tight when they get down to turn number 1. There they go. Down through goes Kalen Chin. Katsadonis is going to be coming into turn 1, and he will be exiting turn 1.
In that hole. There you go.
Just in behind Damon Woods. And now does that release Damon Woods to go on down and get after Kalen Chin? We will find out. Although the pit stop time from end to end was near identical. 4.6 seconds. The top 3 all identical on the box time. It was Caleb Hyde that made the biggest win in terms of pit lane time. And if you have a look down the field, Roberts 44.6 seconds. I tell you what, you take 40 seconds off of that stop.
4.1 seconds. Fastest pit stop of the lot.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Scotty, he's off the tail end of the field at the moment, not having a great night at the office. Contact in race number 1, and race number 2 hasn't fared much better. But for the meantime, Ewan Baker is having a dogfight with Caleb Hyde. They've managed to shake Phil Worley, but if they keep this up, Phil Worley will be chomping at their heels in only a few moments' notice.
And we've seen that already once tonight, haven't we?
This battle pack going side by side for such an extended period of time has been phenomenal to watch. Hyde leads the way for now, and you can just see Ewan Baker skipping all over the place, picks up a little bit of the outside gravel. And that gap to Phil Worley is closing.
The gap there to Caleb Hyde just jumped. He lost about 5 car lengths with the tiniest touch of dirt on the outside. Phenomenal how much road speed they lost out of that.
Now for Phil Worley, he can sniff an opportunity to get back into that toe. And for Caleb Hydes, he's going to be very, very careful he doesn't make another error, otherwise he will be out of it. For Damon Woods, what does the lap time look like this time, guys? He managed to make ground. You know what? I think he's taken a chunk out, just a chunk.
Has 0.2 of a second out. He's got 10 minutes left, 0.2 of a second, and he is 1.3 seconds behind. But once he gets to within about 0.6, he's in the toe. So he's only got to gain 0.6 of a second. So watch those times over the next couple of laps. If he can just pull that gap in enough that he can get in the toe, we've got a race on.
I tell you what, do you remember the fastest lap time from heat number 1 was the 37.0. We've done one better with the draft in heat number 2. Tom Katsadonis, 36.771. It was David Woods that set it in race 1 this time by Tom Katsadonis, and for Woods, a 36.884. Two drivers to set times inside the 36s with that magic toe. And they've bettered the qualifying times from tonight as well.
Yeah, well, Damon must be picking up a little bit of a toe here. I think he's just close enough. He's getting a little bit of aero benefit from the wake from Callan Chin. So anyway, we'll see what it is this time round. See what the laps do, what those lap times for the last lap are. Let's have a look at this as we come around to the start-finish line. You can get Callan Chin over the line in a 30. Here it comes. 37.092. No, 37.1. 36.6 from Woods. That's a half a second he's pulled in. And a 36.7 for Katsadonis.
And now he's continuing to close up as Damon Woods. And for Chin, he's under pressure, he's under threat. His lap time was less than 1/10 of a second better than his fastest lap of the race thus far. And it still was not good enough. And for Tom Katsadonis, on that most recent lap, although it was voided out by an off-track somewhere through the lap, 36.712. He was 0.02 of a second, less than 0.02 of a second, slower than Damon Woods. So Katsadonis is not dropping out of this one either.
No, Tom's really getting the benefit of the toe there from Damon. So, yeah, he's driving fantastic, but he is sitting in that hole in the air. And now we're going to see Damon start to get that hole in the air from Kalen as he gets closer and closer. And I think he's going to obliterate. He's got the potential to obliterate that 36.6 as he gets up closer. We could see a low 36, 36.2, easy.
Well, for the meantime, Ewan Baker has managed to get ahead of Caleb Hydes in the battle that's just on in behind these guys, the battle for 4th. But it's the podium battle we continue to watch. 1, 2, 3 on the road, 1, 2, 3 in terms of the lap times, and the gaps are coming down now. And have a look at Woods as he's going to really crawl all over the rear bumper now of Kalen Chin. Won't go for the overtake here. He's going to set himself off the last corner. There might be an opportunity when they get down to turn number 1. Chin a little bit out sideways off the final corner, and now the defensive moves start to come for Kalen Chin. He won race number 1. I don't know about race number 2. It might be in the balance.
Yeah, he sort of got a little loose there a couple of corners back, and yeah, lost a bit of momentum again. So we'll see what the lap times are this time round. They see Woods using all the road.
Absolutely he is, and Kalen Chin's just trying to feed him a little bit of dirty air. Where does the move come? When do you get to see two superstars of the sim racing world? Two young drivers with a lot on their plate and a lot of opportunity coming their way. For Damon Woods, maybe the eyes start to turn onto him, because this time, this year, he will be awarded a host of trophies at the Motorsport Australian Night of Nights, the championship presentations.
Alan knows he's there, he's filling the mirrors, and I'm sure he's got Kalen's attention. That's the problem, though. When you're looking in the mirrors, you're not looking ahead. So really, really difficult here, especially being hauled in and being caught rapidly like that. You know the guy behind's got the road speed on you. He's quicker than you are. But can you hold him off? How do you do it? You make the car wide. You make sure you get your exits right.
Whoa!
Give up the, oh, he's wide, and he's done it. He's lost it.
And now for Kalen Chin, the moment goes from defense, now it becomes offense, and he would have known he was wide on the way in there. I thought he missed the apex when he got down there to turn 10, and indeed he did. Drifts wide. He's managed to live with second place, but this is where it all went wrong. The tip in at 8, and then it's the tip in at 9.
That's the same corner that we saw Damon make a mess of in the heat race where he clobbered the curb. It's a really difficult corner because you've actually got to get the first one right. If you get the first one slightly wrong, the second one can be miles out. So it's all one big long corner, and trying to put it together is a masterful art.
All of a sudden, Katsudonis becomes witness to a change for the lead. Could that result itself later on in the race in Katsudonis becoming a race winner? We'll have to see. Time starting to run out now. There is 5 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock. It's about to be 5 minutes as Formula 4 runs to the tail end of the race. Safety car will not be required here from Circuit de Jerez because the night has been phenomenal in terms of the racecraft.
Yeah, we've not seen a lot of incidents. We've seen a couple of little rubs of wheels and things, but really nothing to make any mention of. It's been sensational racing from all of them. Some really, really clever motorsport tonight. So we still, every time we turn around, there's somebody going side by side. So there's Caleb Dawson there still battling on. Wide, looking at the guys in front. Are we going to get another moment? No.
It's Tressida and Ben Roberts that are going toe-to-toe just up ahead of him. Tressida looked to defend, looked to get a little bit of a toe, but he got no run off of turn 5 as they ran down the back straight, and now it's going to be Dawson that gets through. Roberts on the recovery mission. Oh, they trip over each other at turn 6, and Caleb Dawson copped a little bit of a whack to the right rear corner, and you can see the frustration.
Not a happy boy at all. Come on, get your head down. You can get that back yet, Caleb. Keep going for it, buddy.
Got to go with that cricketer's mindset, don't you, Dave? It's next ball, next corner for a driver. Next opportunity. Always got to keep the eyes up and see what can come. For Jack Marra, there was opportunity early on, and he lost it. He's back up to 8th position at the moment, albeit thanks to the unfortunate pit lane entry of Ben Roberts, but you take those, and then for Ewan Baker and Caleb Hydes, I'm pretty sure that these guys at the end of each other are either going to love each other for the level of the racing and how clean it's been, or they are going to absolutely hate each other. It'll be one way or the other. It's never in between.
I think if they manage to keep it straight and don't have an issue to the end of this race, I think they'll both be very, very happy and had a great night's racing. But yeah, you know when you're racing that close and that hard, occasionally there's going to be a little bit of a touch. There's certainly nothing deliberate in it. It's just, everyone's pushing so hard. The pace is so hot. That mistakes happen,
And it's a game of limits, and the limits can sometimes be centimetres. They can be less than that, can be millimetres. And when it happens, provided you sit there, shake it off, and keep cracking on the next race, that's the important part. But for Damon Woods, in the meantime, he's got that race lead. I'll tell you what, Tom Katsudonis just dropped his wheel in the dirt as well, and he's managing to hang on to these top two. But for Ewan Baker, that's what the view out the helmet looks somewhat like. Albeit slightly centered on the car, and here comes the defense from Hydes to the outside. Ewan Baker. There's no hole there. There's no hole there. But for how much longer? Huge wiggle from Caleb Hydes out of the last turn, Dave. This is for everything. This is for all the marbles.
We've got 2 minutes 14. We've probably got 2 laps. So this should be penultimate white flag at the end of this one, I would think. We'll see what Barney's waving. See if he's swatting flies up there at the end of this one. But Calanchin has not let go of Damon Woods. He's still sitting right there on the tail. He's consolidated, calmed himself down after the couple of moments where he gave the lead away, and he's got himself back into a position where he can challenge.
Chin is closed up.
There is no wider car ever than Damon Woods when he's defending.
And it is about to become 1 lap left to run. It's 4.4 kilometers around Circuit Jerez Angel Nieto, and this is the MotoGP layout, the same layout they use on MotoGP, Moto3, Moto2 machines. And with 1 lap left to go, I think there's going to be about 6 kilometers left to go. That'll become 5.5 in a moment's time. Then it'll become 5 out of the last corner of the run down to the flag. There is nothing in this for Calanchin. He won the heat race. He wants to win the feature. If he stays here, he might just win the night in terms of overall points. Damon Woods did finish a few spots further down. Oh, Damon Woods is a big wiggle as he tries to get back to the cower. Now it is 1 lap left to go, and Barney's got that flag in the air. It will, next time by, it'll have black checks through it. And here comes Katsudonis to make it 3 wide on the approach to down to turn number 1. It's all to play for, and Woods is wide at 1. Katsudonis has got to run, makes contact with the left rear corner. of Kalen Chin, and they all managed to get out the other side. They're all weaving over the road now.
They're not leaving anything on the table here. Every car there's loose, they're sideways, they're touching, they're bumping. It's just crazy. They're all desperate for this win, but it seems like Woods has been able just to hang on to it again. The touch, the wheel touches it, he just gets away with it. And it cut right over to the right-hand side of the road, cover down the inside, and down we go to that fast set of triple right-handers, which when Martin Donnelly had his huge accident in the Lotus in F1. I remember
Katsunonis just about lost the rear end of the car down at turn number 6, so that'll sell his night short in P3.
I think we're shot. I think we're shot for the finish.
And now Kalen Chin tries to close in on Damon Woods. There'll be one more opportunity. It will be the last corner. Can he get there? Can he get to the inside? It's got to be nailed. But for Caleb Hides and Ewan Baker for 4th place. They touch.
Boys.
They touch again. It's the last lap of the race. It's the last lap of the night. It's the last time they'll come to Angel Nieto for 2023. Baker gets down the inside. But he was too deep for my liking. They will get out the other side, and I don't think they'll lose a spot. And for Damon Woods, he will not be overtaken at the last. Kalen Chin wins the heat. It'll be Damon Woods that takes the feature.
Wow. Again, some fantastic racing there at the end. It may have only been 3 of them, but no. That was a fantastic race to the finish. Unfortunate for Ewan Baker there. Hopefully he's going to be able to slide through. He hasn't lost a position at the moment, it looks like.
That was the run down through turn number 1, and an update on Ewan Baker. That incident point for the contact with Caleb Hides put him over the incident point limit, gets himself a 40-second post-race penalty on the last lap of the race. So that has rather ruined his night, and this is what it looked like from Katsunonis on the exit of turn number 1. Where do you go? He was a fraction off the curbing, and Kalen Chin was expecting him to be further to the left. And this is a mistake. No, this is coming down to the last corner. I think we're going to get a whole big run of what this entire moment looked like. There we go. That's the run through turn number 1. Where do you go? Where do you go? You were looking for the gap to open up on the inside. You were looking
just
for
touch wheels there with... Yep, just touch wheels on the inside, and that was it. That was the race. Pretty much done there. Once Damon got through this, there was enough of a gap, and that was that for the rest of the race. And it's that simple. 1 car, 2, 3 car lengths there. That's it. Done.
Unfortunate. It
was unfortunate. He certainly had the inside line. That's not a done deal. Race control will be having a good look at that one because I'm not sure on that one.
And Damon Woods will come home in the feature race when it will be Kalen Chin 1st and 2nd across the night.
I think the 3 of them will be rapt about that. They've had some fantastic racing tonight, and that's what they care about most.
And for Tom Katsunonis, it was P2 in the heat race and P3 in the feature as well, so a reasonable night at the office for him. This is what it looked like on the final lap of the race. Damon Woods, Kalen Chin, Tom Katsunonis, your top 3. Caleb Hides and Bailey Evans are going to get home for your top 5. Philip Worley, Jack Mara just outside in 7th. 8th, 9th, and 10th will be Henry Lawrence, Ben Roberts, and Brody Tressida. Roberts get back to 9th late on in the piece there, Dave.
Yeah, that was very disappointing for Ben with that pit lane infringement. That's really, really disappointing. So.
And outside the top 10, 11th spot for Rob Bowden. Scott Bartine home in 12th. Post-race penalty demotes Ewan Baker all the way back to 13th. Brody Shepherd in 14th. And Caleb Dawson 15th. Damien Cairns finishes off the lead lap. And Lachlan Capel was your safety car driver or race controller there this evening. So pay no mind to that.
And he didn't do a single lap.
No, he didn't have to do one tonight.
So I'm expecting the boys will come and join us here in a minute. Here they come by the sounds of it. And so, Damon Woods, another win. What a sensational bit of racing that was.
Yeah, good to bounce back from my talent failure in the heat race. So I'm happy with the performance, but yeah, I'm a little annoyed in my my little off-track expedition there in the heat. But no, we played the field strategy right in this one, and yeah, had the pace to hunt down Kalen and then defended to the end, which was good.
Yeah, and Kalen unfortunately made that little bit of an error that made it a bit easy for you. I was hoping he was going to make it a bit harder than that.
Yeah, I think he got a little loose. His rear tires were going off a bit from what he was saying in the chat. So yeah, I definitely got a little lucky that his tire wear was not ideal, but that's part of racing you got to adjust for.
We did see you get a little bit loose yourself on that last lap. So obviously all the cars getting a little loose and a little bit slippery in those closing laps towards the finish there.
That was just a bit of tactical defense. No, but that was the rear end was starting to go around a bit. So yeah, just had to manage it in the closing laps.
Excellent. We'll come back to you in a minute, Damon. So, Kalen, a lot of leading. Unfortunately, you just sort of let him through in the end.
Yeah, it's the one mistake I made throughout the entire race, costed me. But nah, Damon was catching me at a rate of knots, so like it was 3 or so tenths a lap as soon as he got clean air. So he was gonna catch me eventually, and it was just fighting till the end.
Yeah, I think you and Tom were a little lucky there on that start of that last lap where you just touched wheels and I saw you dive across the road. But it wasn't anybody's fault. It was just done close racing and everyone trying to get through. So, but that once that little gap there opened, that was it really in the finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a racing incident, honestly, but just relieved it happened on the last lap and not the lap before or whatnot, because it gave me a bit of damage and got a bit worried Tom would have got me. So, but it's all good. It was just racing. Incidents like that happen.
Yep. Oh well, great race. You've had a good night. A win in the heat and second place in the feature. So that's a pretty good night for you.
Yeah, it was fun, especially forgetting that the race is going to start soon when I was making dinner. So I'd consider it a good night.
Yeah, all right. Well, and now third to Tom Katsadonis. Fantastic drive tonight, mate. I watched you in the festival last weekend. Had a great run there and another good run tonight.
Yeah, no, it's been a fun couple of races for me recently. And for me, this sprint and feature tonight is kind of nice to have because it's what I think my season should have been up until now. There's been too many stupid mistakes throughout and also a couple things outside my control. But tonight, most things went to plan. A couple of small mistakes, like the first stint of the feature, I was following Kalen, doing my fuel saving, doing a good job, but then I literally forgot what corner I was at, and so went in way too fast, and that's why I slipped behind my teammate Benny. And then at the end there in the melee between us three, it was super fun. We kept it clean for the most part. No egregious driving from anyone. It was good fun, but I guess I probably need to watch a couple of Fernando Alonso onboards or something to place my car a bit better, because I think a better result was definitely possible, but given how rapid I know Damon and Kalen are, I think just being up there and being on the podium with them was a good result.
Yeah, there wasn't too many gaps in that wall in front, was there? And when they're side by side and that close together, it's really, really hard to get yourself in between them. It's almost like that little DRS effect where everybody's in the slipstream and you just can't get that advantage. So I thought you did a fantastic job tonight. Thought you might have knocked off Kalen there on the last lap, but unfortunately that little touch of wheels just sort of broke the momentum of both of you.
Yeah, I tried squaring off the exit out the hairpin because I knew that was my last chance to sort of get a run before the final hairpin, and I think I waylaid a bit too much throttle on before the car had gripped up again, but it's fine margins, and on the final lap you kind of have to put it on the line, and yeah, didn't quite work out this time, but good performance overall.
All right, well, great race. Thank you very much, Tom, for putting on such a show tonight, and have you got some people you'd like to thank?
I want to thank my main team, ATRS Esports, and also the guys at DPR for being so welcoming to let me drive part-time for them in the series. With the setup help and the practice help has been great. Obviously, the broadcast team for putting on a good show, and Damon and Kalen for great racing.
Cool. And now to Kalen. Kalen, some people you'd like to thank for tonight.
Of course, I have to thank my family first. My dad, my mom, hopefully she's watching, and my friends who are also watching, who I share the stream to, and obviously Damon and Tom and Penny Roberts for a wonderful race tonight, and then the broadcast team for hosting this event. It's lovely.
Cheers, thanks very much. And we will see you at Road America next, I think. And Damon Woods, better thank those sponsors again, bud.
Yeah, I'd always like to thank the boys at Esports, VRS, Recaro Seats, JBL, Tailored Rig, Arima Sportswear, SX Group, and as always, the FRG boys for putting on these events, and commentary team for doing their fantastic job. So yeah, thank you very much.
The next time out, we're at Road America, as I said, and then the last round of the championship goes to Silverstone. So two really big, fast tracks coming up for these boys, and they've shown what that sort of racing comes from that tonight. Look forward to seeing you all there next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and that's us for tonight.